Okay, it says now live streaming.
Great. I lost, oh wait, it says setting up your, okay. Hold on. Okay. All right. We good? Can everybody still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. We can go ahead and call the meeting to order then.
All right. Shall I read the boilerplate?
Yes, please.
All right, it's 7:08 p.m. Southborough Youth Commission, Tuesday, December 8th, 2020, 7 p.m. via remote participation, revised agenda. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL 30, section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Southborough Youth Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town meeting website at southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen to the meeting may do so in the following manner: southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will put on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting.
Thank you.
Lovely, isn't it?
You find it to be a challenge to see how fast you can.
Yes.
Yeah, Marguerite's very good at it.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. So the first item on the agenda is to review/approve minutes from the November 10th meeting.
I have two very, very, very small changes,
Yeah.
and I probably should have emailed them to you, but I didn't get the chance.
Okay.
My name is spelled with an E, not an O.
Okay.
That's one thing. And Jen Drew, Barbara, has an E at the end of her name.
Those are small changes.
Okay.
Yes.
Leslie Ooh.
Yeah. What happens when you do the minutes after the Christmas tree falls down on you?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry about
No
that.
worries.
That'll do it.
Those were the only changes I found.
Okay. You don't want to be Leslie Haddock.
Head on, head on,
Dawn.
head on.
All right. And Jan Drew with an E. And then I got Marguerite's, which were two typos spelling usage. All right.
For the minutes.
So I make a motion to approve the minutes after those small changes are made.
All right.
Second.
Sarah Micus approves.
Here, I'm gonna call people.
All right.
Okay.
Lauren Ritchie.
Approve. Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Marguerite Landry.
Aye.
Sue Butka.
Aye.
Okay. Leslie
Sorry.
Haddon. I'm sorry.
Dawn.
Haddon. Sarah Micus.
Aye.
And Susan Byer.
Aye.
Okay, Susan.
I really think you should leave the Caribbean. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, my husband puts that on there. I don't know how to get off. I have no
Oh,
idea.
it makes
We love it. We love it.
Shape and
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the director's report for the month of November. Does anybody, it was 5 or 6 pages long, I think, so.
A lot in there.
Questions or want me to review any of it?
It kind of goes along with the times, right? It's
Yeah, I guess some things to highlight in keeping with what Beth had made some suggestions for last week. I would like to publicly express our appreciation for Christina McCarthy, our new admin assistant, for her help with the mortgage and rental assistance program. And actually, I think Chelsea Malinowski is in the audience for our meeting right now. She was very was and still has been very, very helpful with reviewing applications and helping us get everything we needed together in order to assist as many people as we can.
Hi, Chelsea, if you're out there. Thank you.
So I would say the month of November, there was a lot of activity related to that particular program. I'm just trying to pull up the director's report. Let's see. Sorry. Where are we here? November. So some additional clients for clinical services this month. I would say, I mean, Shannon, feel free to chime in. I think need-based services, especially, I mean, I know we're in the month of December now, but it's been quite busy. The number of people who have financial need or are experiencing some pretty stressful situations. Shannon, do you have anything you want to add to what's been on your plate lately?
No, just echoing that it's more than I've ever seen at one time. So
Yeah.
And newer people and adding on to your original.
People that we haven't. Yeah. Oh, I see Beth Dombacher is in the attendees. I'm going to promote her to panelist here. So yeah, that has been, there's been quite a bit of activity there between the emergency fund, the holiday giving program, and the mortgage and rental assistance program. I would say all of those things have kept our office quite busy. Hi, Beth.
Hi, Beth.
Sorry, I'm late. I was having technical difficulties.
Sorries. I'm glad I saw that an additional person was in the attendees, so I checked to see who it was. So let's see. Coffee Talk continues on. We had a great conversation just this morning. Again, we're supposed to focus on November, but we've had a lot of really great episodes lately. And I think we mentioned this last week that we're booking out into February now for the show, which is great. We did have very exciting. We had Representative Carolyn Dykema come on the show. That was just last week. Cool. To talk about the housing crisis and services that are available for residents. So that's great. And Christina continues to become fully matriculated into the office, which has been so helpful. And I don't know, any specific questions that people have, or anybody want me to review anything further?
Are you talking about the director's report or?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I did have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So just on the NRAP part of the write-up, so it says Chelsea and Carla from the town hall, but can we add these people's last names? So I mean,
oh sure, yep.
So what are they?
Chelsea, who actually is in attendance, she is participating in the process as a representative from the Housing Trust Committee. The reason for that is because the funding for this program comes from the CARES Act. And if for some reason the funding was not available, and I might not be articulating this perfectly, but if the funding fell through or did not become available because it's coming from the federal government, there needed to be a backup plan for the funding. And so the Housing Trust Committee agreed to be that source of backup funding. So they needed to have some oversight in the program. So what happens with the program is a resident will apply. They'll submit their application to us with all of their supporting documents, and we make a copy of everything they have and we redact all of the information. And then we send a copy over to Chelsea, who's representing the Chelsea Malinowski.
Okay, so she's the our select woman.
She's a select woman, and in this case, she's representing the Housing Trust Committee.
Okay, so she's not in accounting then.
She's not in accounting, no.
Okay.
So accounting and the Housing Trust Committee are part of sort of the second layer of oversight and review. And so when they get a copy of the applications and the supporting documents, they get a redacted version.
Okay, so who requested the additional documents?
All of that comes from that second layer of oversight. So
Okay.
when we are submitting the applications to them, sometimes we don't have all of the documents that we need. And we might be familiar with a person's case and their situation, but we need to be able to illustrate that on paper. And there are certain documents that are required by the federal government and the state. And so we would submit the documentation to them, get some feedback on what additional things we might need. And in some cases, we would come across situations that none of us had anticipated. For example, how to paint a picture of someone who is self-employed. So one of the requirements is having pay stubs. If you're a self-employed individual, you don't necessarily have pay stubs. So there were different requirements. So it was a little bit of a stressful process because this is not a program that we had training in prior to. It's not like a program that we do annually, like fuel assistance. And it's not like we've been in a pandemic before so that we've received these funds before and have known what to do. And I really hope that I don't ever have to say, the next time we have a pandemic,
Oh,
we
God.
will know what to do.
Right.
But it is possible that the town will receive CARES Act funds again, and that there might be a possibility of doing something like this again. But we'll have to work with the individuals that have been involved to kind of refine the process, I think, and refine our checklist and all of the information that we need.
And Carla's last name? I mean,
Carla McAuliffe,
we're at the townhouse.
she's the town accountant.
What's her last name?
McAuliffe,
Okay.
McAuliffe.
So I was just wondering I think it would be nice if we had their last names on the
Sure.
first report.
Sure. Yep.
So,
Apologies.
and because I was just reading through it, I'm like, I don't know who
Yeah,
she's referring to.
sure.
So, and then on the grant balances, I'm sorry if I'm jumping in late, so I'm sorry if you.
No, that's okay.
Before
You're
we
coming right on time.
Can I ask another question about the mortgage and rental assistance program?
Yeah.
It says here 10 families. So those were 10 families that qualified.
Not all of them did.
Not all of them did. And
No,
can you just
we had-
elaborate? Because I know there was an emergency fund request that recently went through for those who did not. Could you just elaborate to the group about that point?
Yep. So there were a few people that have been, again, we have to paint a picture using documents only, basically. And so and because these funds are coming from the CARES Act, it has to be tied directly to COVID. For that reason, in some situations, we could not illustrate through paper, through documents, that there was a direct link to COVID. For example, we had somebody who was out of work, and in her particular line of work, COVID exacerbated her search to find employment. The issue there is that she didn't qualify because she didn't lose her employment because of COVID. Does that make sense? So that's just one example where somebody applied to the program but was not eligible. So there were 10 families in total, and 3 of the 10, one was found, actually 3 of them, one of them applied. We determined that it wasn't an eligible application. And then 2 others, in the process of sort of reviewing their case with them, we determined that they also would not qualify. So we are working on trying to offer some assistance through the emergency.
Yeah,
fund.
that must have been hard to deliver that news.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really sorry to do this. I have to run to the ladies' room. I'm trying to drink water, but Sue, I've made you a co-host. Could you take over with?
Sure,
if somebody has
absolutely.
the agenda with them, I'll be right back. This is just like at work, right, Shannon and Megan? I'm always like, sorry, I've got to use the ladies' room. I'll be right back.
That's fine. That's fine. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I was looking at the grant balances, and I on the emergency fund. So when I take the starting figure and subtract the spent figure, I don't come up with the same figure that's on the report for the available balance. So I was wondering, Sue, you might not be able to answer this question, but that was my next question. I was wondering, why is that not balancing?
Well, Leslie's the accountant. Leslie.
Yeah, I'll do the math. I'm sure that Beth has already done the math correctly, so I'm going to come up with the same thing as her, I'm sure. But I wouldn't know why. Oh,
it could just be a typo, or there might be a reason. So I was just curious.
I'm not putting in the change, but yeah.
Well, while she's on the
Yeah,
bathroom.
it is quite they're off like 3,000.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So
good
tell
catch.
me- Say that again, what you said, Beth, and maybe I can try to dig it up.
So on the emergency fund, on the under the grant balances, right at the end of the director's report.
Yep.
So it says the starting date was, July 1st. And so it has a figure. And then it says spent FY21. So I would assume that that's what we spent starting on July 1st also, since it's FY21. And so when you subtract what's spent from what we started with, you get a different figure than what the available balance is on the director's report. So I was just wondering if that was a mistake, or if there is some kind of reason that comes into play that we're not seeing on paper.
Nope, Sarah's back.
Which grant are we talking about here?
Okay, so I'll say it again.
Sorry, I heard what you said. I just don't know which one you're talking
So
about.
on the emergency fund, so we started with a figure on September, I keep saying September, on July 1st.
Yeah.
And then what we spent in FY21, which I'm assuming also started on July 1st, since it's FY21. And then if you subtract that, the available balance is not correct. It's not correct. So I didn't know if it was
it's possible that I neglected to update funds. And actually, I just had a meeting with Christina this morning, and I noticed an incorrect formula in our spreadsheet for this exact grant, that the total amount that's listed there doesn't line up with the row right before it. So I apologize for that. I can send you guys the updated figures.
So
sorry, what total amount doesn't line up or doesn't add up? Sarah?
So when you look at the spreadsheet,
yes,
the way the formulas are, we have a line that says there's the total balance remaining. It's not correct because the line right before it is less than what the total says.
Did,
And the
did-
line before it should be more. I can't really explain it to you without you being able to see the spreadsheet.
I don't
so-
think, oh, so we don't have the full spreadsheet.
No, this is just an Excel spreadsheet that we use to try
Oh,
to keep
okay.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't follow
So-
either, but
Is this grant balances something you just type in numbers into, or is it actually an Excel spreadsheet that gets
It's an
updated?
Excel spreadsheet. Yeah.
Okay, good. So,
But this is really, we are just, Friends is keeping track of this through their administrative support. And so we are just also keeping track of it for our own records and then cross-referencing what we have with what they have. So, so really for the best accurate picture of what's in there, it's really something that we should connect with Friends about. But our understanding, based off of what we know to have been paid out through the emergency fund, is I can even pull it up right now. This is another one. I know I said it in the holiday giving. It has been incredibly busy. I know, Shannon, there were several conversations going on just today. I can't even pull up my Google Drive right now because I'm logged in as.
When does that all go out? The holiday giving stuff. I know it's so different than any other year.
It started today, actually.
It did, okay.
Christina set up shop outside in the cold with a table and chair and handed out the first round of distribution to 21 families today.
Wow.
She's got more coming on Thursday, and some that she hasn't heard back from yet. And when I say first round, it's because we had sorting day. Shannon can speak better to this if I'm missing anything, because she was instrumental in making that happen this past Friday. But so we put packages together for all the families that had applied and distributed those, but we still have additional funds and gift cards available. So we're strategizing another plan to give out more, and some other plans for potentially offering some support to our emergency fund and mortgage and rental assistance families as well.
okay, so
Thank you.
if we can get back to this just for a minute. So do you think that's just a mistake?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's not an excuse, but
just
the report takes me almost all day to write. So that's the last part of it. And I apologize. I probably did not update what had come out of FY21 for this year so far.
Well, especially for this month. This is a busy month. So unlike any other, right? So it's.
But I can make a note to myself to double check those. And I'd need to double check with staff too, to make sure that they're completely up to date. Because as I said, there's been daily activity related to almost everything in there.
What if we just move forward so that next meeting, the corrected version is presented to us, and then I think that.
okay, so I had a couple other questions about that
Sure.
also. So I'm wondering if the emergency fund figure reflects all of the funds, because at one point you had, a fiscal year that we were working on, and then we had received funds that it wasn't added into this. So I'm wondering if this figure here is the whole amount.
It is.
And
That's-
so then we didn't apply for any emergency funds this year because it says that there's nothing coming in.
We did apply for emergency funds. The Southborough Community Fund worked with the Trust Fund Committee to ask for them to make a contribution to the emergency fund for this year. And I actually just sent an email to Tom Crotty, who's the chair of the Southborough Community Fund, this morning, or actually rather this afternoon, to let him know that as of now, we have not received a contribution from them. But I don't know in their conversation what the plan was, if it was coming at a certain time. I think part of the reason for that is that we were looking for financial assistance with so many other things that they wanted to offer their support for those things. And they also encouraged us to reach out to them should we be finding that those funds were being depleted quickly at some point. So there's a possibility, I don't want to speak for them, but there's a possibility that we might be able to get increased support in the emergency fund at some point outside the grant cycle. I don't know. Again, I can't speak for them. So.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have any other questions about the director's report? No?
Oh.
Okay.
Looks like
The next item on the agenda is a budget update. Let's see. So for our FY22 budget request, we, as you all probably can recall, we're looking for an additional $20,000 in our operating budget for a contract, an annual contract with Interface Referral Services. Related to the conversation we were just having about grants, we did receive funding from the Southborough Community Fund for a first-year contract with Interface. And I'm very excited to report that we have signed the contract and are moving forward with that starting
That's
January.
great news.
yes,
Wonderful.
fantastic.
That's wonderful news.
Yes.
When are they starting, Sarah?
What's that?
When are they starting?
January 1st.
Yay.
Yeah. So I'm about to, well, I think Kathy just sent in a check. So Kathy, being Kathy Cook of Friends of the Southborough Youth Commission, she is the treasurer. So she sent in a check as of yesterday to pay for that first year, and that's being funded by the grant we received from the Southborough Community Fund, which we're incredibly grateful for. And given that this starts on January 1st, I am about to embark on a what I imagine, just from learning about other communities, a big sort of rollout and campaign to share with the community about this service. So I have to connect with them, being the community liaison for Interface. I think there's going to be a lot of communication coming out very soon about what Interface is and how to use it and what to expect, so on and so forth. So that's exciting. And it relates to our budget because, again, what we were requesting for FY22 is $20,000 to be able to continue that service after the calendar year 2021. Just as a reminder, the first year costs $16,000, and that's what Friends just sent a check for. The second year costs up to $20,000 based off of usage. So it's not, it's a possibility that it will stay at 16,000. It's possible it will be less than that, but it won't exceed $20,000. And so we're budgeting for $20,000 so that we have that flexibility to base our next contract on usage. Let's see, I had a meeting with the town finance team, meaning the town administrator, Mark Purple, the town treasurer, Brian Ballantyne, the town accountant, Carla McAuliffe, and the town assessor, Paul Sabelli, and reviewed our budget request with them. And that was in November. It's on the director's report. I don't remember the exact date, but within the month of November. And then Sue and I went to a Board of Selectmen meeting. When was that, Sue? That was also in November. I don't remember the exact date, but to
And then,
just-
and then advisory as well.
Yep.
That was
Yep. With,
advisory, so.
yep. The selectmen meeting was to kind of just give an update on how we've been doing, what our service delivery has looked like. And we did have an opportunity to highlight our FY22 request when we met with them. And then also just this past week, we met with advisory to share with them our FY22 request. And both meetings went well. Things, you know, it's very early in the budget season, so we'll see how things shake out. But so far, those meetings have gone well, and it sounds like we have support for, or at least, you know, in conversation, people have expressed interest and
An understanding, I think, of what's going on.
acknowledge the need for it.
Right.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is all I have for an update as of right now. I guess one other thing, if it's okay, just to go back to the grant balances as it sort of relates to budgets. The other thing that we are hoping to move forward with in January that also is being funded through the Southborough Community Fund is working with a strategic planner, Ann Budner. So Ann, as you might remember, has worked with a number of other youth and family service departments in municipal and other towns, and has done fantastic work. I've seen the product of her work with other communities. And one of the things that attracted us most to working with her is that the first part of her process is conducting a pretty thorough needs analysis of the community through various means. Certainly COVID, like everything else, COVID puts a wrench into things in the sense that logistically it's a little more challenging to collect all of the information we need. But I think now is a particularly good time to be doing a needs analysis and a needs assessment of the community. And so then the plan is to do that and then have a subsequent strategic planning process that will end in a 5-year strategic plan for the department, which I think will also be incredibly helpful when we are being pulled in many different directions right now. So, so that is also being funded through the Southborough Community Fund and due to begin in January also. We are hoping to maybe push that out to February a little bit because of interface starting at the same time, per Shannon's suggestion.
How long are they anticipating that will take, Sarah?
It really depends. In the absence of a pandemic, it tends to take about 3 months. She just finished this same process with the town of Hopkinton, and it was more like 6 or 7 months in total, mostly because, you know, extra steps needed to be taken to conduct meetings and have interviews with people separately. So it may take a little longer given those logistical challenges.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Shannon and Megan, am I missing anything else that you think is an update that we should highlight? No? Okay. Any other questions regarding the budget? No? Okay.
I have one question.
Sure.
So do you think the strategic plan will be done by spring, summer kind of timeframe then?
I would say spring.
Okay, and would this influence our budgetary process, I guess it can't really, I mean, you probably can't influence FY '22.
Yeah, no. And I actually, Kathy had the same question for me at one point. It might have been in the advisory meeting or at some other point, but I don't see, it's possible, but you're right that this won't influence our FY '22 budget because of the timing. It could have implications for FY '23. It feels crazy to think that far ahead, but
I know, yikes.
but I think by and large, what we're looking for is just to create some parameters for our department
Put a minute if you
to
want.
help fine tune and clarify our mission. We have a sense of what it is we're doing, but as I just said, we're being pulled in a lot of different directions, and I think it would be really helpful for us to sort of say, stay within these lines.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Sarah,
yeah.
is this also going to look at where the building that Youth and Families will be in, or the possibilities of other buildings besides the one we're in now?
It doesn't. I feel pretty clear on what our needs are as a department for space, and I have communicated that already to the Capital Planning Committee. So in terms of what's happening with South Union as a building, that's really lies in their hands. I'm not 100% clear on where things stand with that. I do know that a perk test was ordered for the property, which I think is part of the, I'm not even gonna pretend to understand all of it, but.
So that's all for septic, right? So I mean, this is just a guess too, and I guess they could tell us this. I can't imagine anything like that's going to happen. There's so much. I mean, I'm sure it's definitely going to happen, but maybe not for the next year.
Right. Those things tend to take a while.
Right.
But it does, what that tells me is that things are progressing anyway. That they're still looking into it and getting more information about the prospect of selling the building.
Okay, I'm just putting it out there because it seems like at some point the building where we are or where you are located now will be too small.
But again, the strategic planning process, and this is in the best interest of the community too, because there's never going to be enough services for mental health, for social services, for public assistance programs, right? I mean, and so what role does our department play as a municipal department versus being a resource and referral hub for other agencies and organizations that exist in and around the area? So to tie those questions together, it's possible that a strategic planning process would result in the discovery that we need additional space. I'm already asking for that because we are sharing, under normal circumstances, we've usually got 2 graduate interns and 3 staff, which means we have 5 people sharing 3 offices. And now we have an administrative assistant too. So I've already asked for additional office space, private office space, doors we can close for appointments with people. And, while we love having interns, it would be nice to not rely on them and consider them as a sort of integral part of the operations of our department. So that additional space that we're already accounting for is for interns. It could easily go to an employee if that's what ends up sort of transpiring.
Thank you.
It's quite far in the future. It's hard to predict. Okay. Should we move on to the next item?
Sure.
which is a friend's report.
Yes.
And Leslie, do you want to take
So-
that?
I'm gonna also ask Lauren to jump in after I speak, because she was also involved in this, but the 100 Women of Southborough group accepts nominations on a quarterly basis for worthwhile, well, any charitable organization can submit an application or submit a form as a nomination. And Lauren had actually prepared an application back in the spring before COVID shut everything down, and they were not able to have their spring meeting. But we as a group, Lauren and I are part of this group, are able to vote. They select 3 nominees, and then the group of 100 women, which I think is now 100 plus women, pick an organization. And this year's winner is, or this quarter's winner is the Friends of Southborough Youth Commission, which was very exciting. And Lisa Baracchio, I'm not sure I pronounce her name
I think you did very well.
properly, was the one that put together the video alongside with Sarah. Maybe you could help me out.
Jennifer, and forgive me because I was introduced to her as Jennifer, so.
Okay, Jennifer, and
I
she's
don't
the
remember her last
clinical
name.
psychologist or
Yeah,
something of that nature.
yeah.
And they prepared a presentation that was phenomenal. I thought they did a really nice job. And the primary purpose of the award, which is $10,000, is for the holiday giving, with the caveat that any leftover funds can be used for the Friends group where needed. So yeah, it was very exciting, and this was quite an honor and quite a recognition. Lauren, did you want to add anything to that?
I don't have anything to add, but I just thought it was a wonderful opportunity for the people in the town to support services in the town.
Yes, I agree.
I appreciate you guys being part of that effort. Thank you.
Yeah, so
We're incredibly appreciative.
I'm not sure where it's at with the collection of the money, but it was coming directly through the PayPal account. So we didn't really have to I mean, Kathy set that up, but I think it was pretty seamless. And I looked tonight, I wasn't able to access the report, which the PayPal report, which tells us how much money. But I know the Friends is very good about making sure that all the members donate. So we could actually end up with slightly more.
100 women is good about.
I'm sorry, the 100 women group is very good about making sure that following up, in other words, to make sure that everybody makes their contribution. So we could actually end up with slightly more than $10,000 in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was very exciting.
I know we were checking in on that just this morning. I think the issue that we're running into right now is without a list of the members. So some donations that came in did not have a memo attached to it that said 100 women. And given that this is probably the busiest time of year for donations, it was hard to distinguish that this was a 100 women contribution versus a just general holiday giving. So I just sent an email to Jennifer Trumpio, I think is her name, just this morning saying, you know, once we have that list, we can cross-reference what's in the PayPal donation list and give you an update on where things stand with that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that, but that makes a lot of sense. So,
So right now you do have enough money for the holiday giving program. You're not short. Okay.
No. And in fact, you know, we definitely want to express our incredible gratitude for everyone that has thought of this program and made contributions. We walked into this season having really no idea what it was going to be like, because not only are families struggling who might be additional families who might be applying to the program, but we know donor groups may also be struggling. And we weren't sure what we were going to be able to count on for donations this year. And we actually did not know that Friends was being nominated for this, for one of the nominees until after it was already done. So we kind of were operating without that understanding. So yes, we have had an incredible amount of generosity this year, which is
that's terrific. That's awesome.
And it's very nice that the 100 Women group has been flexible with it, allowing us to use these funds to help people throughout the year.
Yes.
And
And the community fund,
Yes, yeah.
saying they trust you enough,
Mhm.
as they should, to make the decisions where the money is needed.
Yes.
So we're very fortunate.
Yeah.
Yikes, it's great.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So you won't be rolling it over to next year's holiday giving program, and
It's possible. It's we're kind of waiting to see. We don't want to make a plan to roll it over and pigeonhole ourselves. If there's needs that come up throughout the year that really need addressing, I think we'd like that flexibility to be able to respond to that. And then, what we have left, we're trying to create these different buckets of money within certain programs, so that we can try to keep track of it and what those funds were donated and intended for. So I think it depends on how the rest of the year rolls out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Gotcha.
And then concerning the Laurie Sugarman Whittier Award, last time we all voted, and Barbara Jen Drew was selected as the recipient of the LSW Award for 2020. And we decided, the Friends group, the Friends officers voted to give the runners-up, the two runners-up, some sort of recognition award as well, just to let them know that they too were nominated. So I believe that is going to be some sort of plant or floral arrangement from Gulbenkians. And we are giving Barbara Jen Drew a gift basket of Vermont cheeses and maple syrup and other
Thank you, Leslie. Thanks for handling that.
Yeah, so that came in like 2 days. It was, I was amazed. So I have
We're working on the letters. So
Okay.
there's going to be a couple of letters that go along with each of these items. And Christina and I actually were just meeting about that today and editing those to try to get them to you as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, I figured you guys were busy. So just let me know if you want me to bring that to you, or if you want me to pick up the letters or whatever.
Okay.
We can be in touch
We
about that.
will touch base soon.
Do
Thank you
these
for-
ladies know? Do they have any idea?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's part of the letters. So typically under normal circumstances, we would tell them well in advance of Celebrate Wellness and invite them to come and, say nice things about them in front of a whole crowd of people. And so this is a little bit different this year. So we're sending a letter along with the gift. And I think my hope would be to write something up to share on my Southborough.
Oh, that's great. That's a great
as a way
idea.
of recognizing them.
And Sarah, do you think it would be inappropriate to invite them to the next awards ceremony whenever that may be? Just
Yeah, no, I think
to
that's a
acknowledge
nice
them
idea.
in public and
Yeah.
Okay.
So if anyone can remember, because I don't know if in 2021 we'll be able to do it. So May of 2022, everyone needs to remember.
So when were we supposed to pick these people? In May? What was the
Typically, we've only, this is only year
Typically,
number
yeah.
two.
Once before, but
Yeah.
that's the
This is
plan,
only
right?
year number 2, but what we did last year was in March.
Okay.
had Chosen
May.
chosen
yeah.
the
Wow.
recipient.
Yeah. And then the last item under Friends agenda was just that Kathy Cook is resurrecting the Friends website. I guess her husband had initially set it up. And so she has said that she would work on updating the Friends website so that it's up to date with the current officers and any other
Logo.
pertinent information.
Mhm. Yeah. Great.
Yeah,
Thanks, Leslie.
sure.
Anything else related to Friends?
I'm glad we have some.
Yeah.
We chose to postpone the meeting this month, and we're going to do it after the holidays just because everybody was swamped, and
Mhm.
just figured that there wasn't anything urgent that we needed to meet regarding. My only thought is when we were talking about the update of the grant balances, I know that's a lot of work for you guys, and everything's like constant, the balances are changing daily. I wonder if Kathy could just give us an update from her standpoint, since she is the accountant, before our monthly meetings,
Mhm.
and we use her figures. I don't know how you'd feel about that, Sarah, but that was just a thought I had when you were talking.
I would say that absolutely that could be part of the Friends report in the agenda.
So I
Yeah,
guess I could reach out to her
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just ask her for those balances.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and meet.
So go ahead and meet.
Oh, did you hear me say that to my husband?
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, it
hard.
could
It's
be
dinner
hard.
time.
He just made chili.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
A
It's
candy
nice of
cane-
him
candy
to wait.
cane.
Beth, what are you
Jelly,
eating?
Jelly Belly candy cane.
Nice. Delicious. That's great. Well, we are reaching the end of our agenda here. Any other business which shall properly come before the board? I don't know if there's anything else that people want to discuss now. If there's things that people want to see on the agenda for January. Yes. Sarah. Sarah Micus.
This is what I make my kids do. Raise your hand. You can unmute me. No, on January, the January agenda, I would love to get an update on the Salesforce and the Theranest and the language translation service, see where those things are going. So I know you have a lot on your plate, and it's probably.
I can give you an update on Theranest.
Oh, awesome.
We are working on getting a W-9 from them as a business to get them set up as a vendor so that we can move forward with that, because of all of the needs we have on the table, that's the most sort of critical. We really have a need to be able to have a client portal available so that we don't have to keep chasing people down for documents. It's really kind of a silly reason to delay services when we just need a signed document. So this is hopefully going to help with that. That one's a little bit more straightforward. Salesforce is going to require a review from the Municipal Technology Committee, and we need to wait until we have a new IT director in place before we can move forward with that. Language line assistance. I'm sorry, Sarah, you were saying let's do all this in January, and I'm saying let's do it now.
Okay.
Language line assistance is still on our radar, but we have not yet moved forward with it. It's so, and that's really just I think by virtue of the fact that it's been so busy. that we haven't yet set up an account for it. So, but it's still on our radar. If I'm just trying to recall the way the board voted on this, is that you approved a certain amount of money
Correct.
for
For
us to
each
use.
items, I think, yeah.
What's that?
I thought-
Right. I remember for language, I mean, for Theranest and for Salesforce you did. And if I recall correctly, there was an amount of money.
I think we said $500 or something.
Yeah. So theoretically, thank you for the reminder. Actually, I could ask Christina to move forward with procuring an account with them, finding out what we need to do in order to make them a vendor and set up an account. So
Sarah, could you just clarify for me what's needed to move forward with the Theranist?
So we have to, anybody that the town is paying has to be set up as a vendor.
Oh, okay.
So there's some administrative things that need to happen where we have to collect a W-9 from that vendor to submit to the accounting office. And so we're in the process of getting that from Theranest right now. They sent us one, but it didn't have a signature on it. So we had to send it back and get a new one. In addition to that, we need to collect an invoice from them to be able to submit to accounting, which is not something that they typically do. Because typically what happens is somebody will sign up for Theranest and pay with a credit card online at the time of opening an account. And that's not how we're doing it since it's coming through the town. So we need them to create an invoice for us. So
Isn't it used by a lot of towns though? It seems they're not too flexible on this.
it is, at least in this area. I was actually encouraged to look into this because some of my colleagues in other towns are using Theranest in their youth and family service department. So
Well, and also you said you had a need as well, right?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
So I think that they're in the same boat. Every municipality operates the same way, where either you have to pay out of pocket. If you have to pay at the time of setting up the service, then you would pay out of pocket and get reimbursed, which is not the ideal scenario. If you can create, set up the vendor as set up with accounting that this vendor have a vendor number and we can submit an invoice to accounting, then we're able to send a check through the town to pay for the service. I don't know if I'm articulating that. I'm tired.
no,
I'm
it just-
sorry.
No, it's fine. No, you're doing good.
Sounds like
Bob.
a lot of red tape.
Yes, it sounds like a lot of red tape.
Yeah. But
Wow.
so again, another reason why we're so thankful to have Christina, because she's able to sort of chase down some of these pieces, which is very helpful. So she's
Sarah?
working on that right now.
Be nice to get started with that, won't it?
Yeah.
What's the learning curve like? Is it something that you feel comfortable? Is it web-based or is it client-based? How do you like?
Well, Megan, what do you have to say? No, Megan and I did a demo first to ensure that it looked user-friendly. So we're basing this off of the fact that a number of other youth and family service departments are also using it and have similar needs to our own. And then we had, I don't remember what she called it, that first meeting we had with her. There was one meeting we had with a Theranest representative. And then we had a demo after that. I think it's the kind of thing that we're just going to need to start using and playing with it to learn how to use it. So
How will you populate the database? Will you do, I know going forward, you'd add new clients and current clients, but are you going to put past clients in there?
I don't think that's going to be our priority right now. When the dust settles, which when that is, I'm not sure. Maybe this summer, maybe. We might have more time to be able to do some of that. But I don't think I'd go too far back. I mean, the department's been in existence. We have files that go all the way back to when Laurie Sugarman Whittier was with the office, and we're mandated to hang on to those for a certain number of years.
Yeah.
So I think it would be in our best interest to, maybe input everybody for the year 2020 and just move forward.
In the interim, we had talked about one specific language that you were concerned about. Are you able to help that family?
Oh, Egyptian. Yeah, the Egyptian family.
Yeah, we're still working with them, and we're able to get by.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah, I wanted to offer, if you do go ahead with Theranest and you need, I know that we're short of an IT person in town. Gio has offered he would intern for you. So if you need help, getting it set up on your machines, cleaning off your machines, making sure that they're running well. And then he's worked for the town before, but I just thought I'd offer his service.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah. And
I don't know if we would be, I'm sure we would have to check in with someone to, because they have their own, for security reasons, there certain plans that they follow, and a sort of schedule for different updates and things like that to computers. So, but if he hasn't already, it might be worthwhile reaching out to the IT department, because I know they have right now a part-time employee.
Yeah.
And I think the school department has also offered some IT assistance with their staff to the town side.
Good.
But yeah, I'm sure
I'll have him
his help would be needed. So
he heard me talking about all the different software. He was very excited about all your selections. So
that's great.
especially
Wonderful.
So
Good. That's great.
Congratulations. I'll be excited to get you guys more streamlined. So
Us too.
out of the naughty 90s.
Does anybody else have anything before we adjourn for the evening?
Our next meeting is scheduled for when, Sarah?
Yep. So I'm fairly 95% confident that Christina has already booked it. And it's for the second Tuesday in January, which is January 12th.
Okay, great.
The other good news, if it hasn't come to your awareness, the town has approved a third remote meeting room, which helps with the
problem
for more virtual meeting space. So there'll be less competition and less arm wrestling. So
Good.
okay.
We move to adjourn.
Sure.
Second.
Okay. Do we have to vote on that?
Probably.
Okay. Sue Butka,
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie,
Aye.
Leslie Haddon,
Aye.
Sarah Mikas,
Aye.
Susan Byer,
Aye.
Beth Dombacher,
Aye.
and Marguerite Landry.
Aye.
Beautiful. Hey, happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays, guys.
Stay well, everybody.
You too.
Virtual hugs for all of you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Bye.
exactly.
Bye, everybody. Stay well.